I'd like to spend a few moments and talk to you about two very powerful intervals, the 10th and the 13th. If you've not yet done so, I'd appreciate it very much if you would subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, like, share, and leave a comment. If you'd care to make a donation, the PayPal link is in the description below, and we're going to get started here with 10ths and 13ths. So a 10th is a third interval, a major third or a minor third. In this case, we're going to look at major third, and we take that third up an octave. So together, it's an octave and a third away. That's what a 10th is. As a ninth is an octave and a second away, and an octave is, of course, an octave. So it's just an extension of an octave into the next register, and we call them tenths. It's a compound interval, a third plus an octave. So a 13th, in this case, say B and G, as we get in a lot of first inversion chords and open kinds of voicings. A 13th is a sixth plus an octave. So in this case, if we start from B, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to G, and we take that G up an octave, we get a 13th. So a 10th is a third up an octave, and a 13th is a sixth up an octave. But they're very powerful and form the backbone of many, many harmonies. So let's take a look here. I decided to make a line after looking at some Bach chorales this morning, looking at how his voices are moving, and devised this little exercise to get us going with these kinds of sounds. So the melody is going to be a straight scale ascending. So in this case, we'll start with B and D at the second and third fret of the fifth and second strings. And all of these examples are going to be either on strings 5 and 2 or 6 and 2. So we're never going to leave the second string melodically. It'll just be either 5th string bass or 6th string bass. And you'll see there's only a few patterns that emerge for 10ths and 13ths. So here's B and D. This is shorthand for a little G chord. The third and the fifth of a G chord, of a G chord, right? Up to C, C and E, 10th. This is, of course, standing in for a C chord. So it's as if we've gone from G to C. And now we're going to split out contrary motion and get our first 13th. This is A to F sharp, which means D7 with the second inversion. So D7 with the fifth and the bass. And we're going to raise those up to their next scale neighbor. We're in the key of 1 sharp here, by the way. B and G, this stands in for a first inversion G chord. So if you hear it that way, it sounds like G, C, D, G. It's a little 1, 4, 5, 1. But we've achieved it just by moving fingers from bass to bass. So I'd say first 2 fingers, 1 and 4, 1 and 4 again, and then I like 2 and 4 here at the 7th and 8th fret, and I'll call out the frets. 2, 3, 3, 5, 5 and 7, 7 and 8. And I think there we've covered all the shapes that are going to present themselves. It's now just a matter of putting them in sequence if we want to run a sequence. So beginning not at our first stop, but at what was once the second little chord, C, we're going to raise it up through its neighbors systematically. This is the way to get more material out of your counterpoint studies or any studies that you're doing, is take them systematically through the key. So here's C and E, a 10th, 3 and 5. D and F sharp, it's a little D chord. So we're going C to D. Here's B and G, a 13th at 7 and 8. And here's C and A, which is standing in for a kind of D7 chord in third inversion with the flat 7 in the bass. So it's as if we're saying C to D to G to D. You can hear how it wants to resolve to G. 3 and 5, 5 and 7, 7 and 8, 8 and 10, C and A. And now we're going to go to the one that was once the second member of this phrase. Now we're going to drop back and make it the first starting point. So we're always doubling back and walking up systematically. So here's D and F sharp, 5, 7, E and G. This is a little C chord, first inversion. C and A is D, and D and B is a G chord in second inversion. So it sounds like 5, 4, 5, 1. Hope you can hear that. 5, 4, 5, 1. So these are kinds of shorthands that happen in this two-voice style. Now we're going to start at a C chord, first inversion, E and G at the 7th and 8th, coming up to a D chord, F sharp and A at 9 and 10. They're going to split, becoming in this G second inversion, D and B, 10 and 12, up to a first inversion C chord, E and C, 12 and 13. And here I'm just following the key of 1 sharp and moving everybody up systematically. So here's our little D chord, 9 and 10, 10 and 12, our little G chord, root position, C chord in first inversion, 12 and 13, D chord, 14, 15, F sharp and D. We could, of course, go to other string sets, but for the purposes of clarity in showing the fingerings, I want to keep them all on these sets. So now we could have G, 10 and 12. A little D7 second inversion chord, A and C. If I put the F sharp in there, you can hear the D-ness of it. 12 and 13. Now we need F sharp and D, 14, 15. And a little C chord, G and E. This will be 15 and 17, and that's where we might leave it off just because of the guitar. Now, you could break these up and try to alter the melodic line to lead the bass more. Just improvising a melodic line there based on both the scale and what I'm hearing with my ears. That's really the fundamental part of this style, is you have to be hearing something. You can be led by a bass line progression, but over that you then want to develop the ability to both hear it, find the fingerings that work, find the positions that correspond to the scale that we're in. And at this point we're in the scale of 1 sharp. So you could think of it a lot of ways, but I just think of it that way rather than thinking of it as G or E minor or something. We're just trying to see the key of 1 sharp everywhere on the board. So I hope this finds you well, enjoying your music. Maybe this has been something that's of interest. If so, Please leave a like and a comment. I wish you very good playing, and I wish you a very good day.